the extra gold to win those fights. So the Maokai remains banned by GAM against Gumont, against G2, but the same is going to be said for G2's ban. I assume they're also just going to keep the Gwen ban. Ban Kia's top 2 there.
But things have changed a little bit here on the GAM side. We don't have the Twisted Fate. That instead is replaced with the Azir. And then the Pantheon ban is replaced by the Annie. So instead of going...
Global's up.
Yeah, exactly. We could see a big global game. Twisted Fate instead going to be banned out by G2 in this one as their last ban. So the Gwen that was banned away last time, that is still available. That is a favorite for Kiaya, but it's not going to be the prio as the Pantheon will be locked in for Levi as well as denied to Skewmont.
Okay, so with that up, I mean, the Aurora is up to pair with it pretty nicely. Ahri is a pairing pretty nicely for it. Let's see what they do end up going to pair with that Pantheon for their mid jungle, but G2, they get first crack at it here. What they want on the bottom side. Poppy answer here into Pantheon. Steadfast Peasant's always nice. And really just the ability to Poppy ult people out for these team fights at the objectives that they know they're going to get into. Always so good. Keep it as a flex.
Yeah. All right, let's see here, G2. How are we going to... Ooh, that could be an interesting one. Okay, the Lucian locked in here. You also have both of Lucian's best buddies still available in the Nami and the Melio. The nice part about picking Lucian like this when you don't pick a support right next to him, Lucian's 2 favorite supports don't really like to play with people that aren't Lucian. So it's not like they're going to steal them away and deny them from you. So you feel pretty confident in this, as we'll see how GAM want to respond. Again, that Gwen that we've seen Kiaya play a lot before is still up and available compared to the game 1 where it was banned in the first rotation.
Okay, could be a mid Corki here, could be a bottom Corki. They definitely have played both. And as you're saying, for the Lucian supports though, the Poppy is not one of those preferred supports. You know,
no.
the Nami, the Melio, and the Braum are the big 3, so they still have some options to themselves. And the Nautilus priority does go way up with it, with the Alistar and the Rel out of course, and so Braum into that Nautilus does make sense with the pairing with the Lucian as well as into the Nautilus matchup.
Exactly, can defend against the potential engage. Normally engage supports can be very scary for something squishy like a Nami or the Melio, but Braum happy to throw up the door and stop that engage where it starts. So Lucian Braum, that'll be your bottom lane for G2. Kind of removes the question marks of, oh, could Poppy be a flex here? Nah, it's probably just going in jungle now unless Broken Blade wants to do something crazy with Poppy top. Now let's see what the second half of our bans look like here, assuming that we have bottom lanes and junglers drafted already. I would not be surprised to see G2 throw some more bans towards the top lane, considering they know Kiaya is often the big threat on GAM.
Yeah, definitely true. I mean, they had a target on us back in game number 1, so they're going to continue on, follow up with those rest of the bans that they dropped previously. Meanwhile, they also know here that Kiaya is going to have to blind pick, so GAM may be looking for some protection bans for him here.
Okay.
Or going to worried about mid lane.
Yeah, so many questions, only 2 bans. Can't answer all the questions.
All right.
Sion.
Okay.
All right, so there we go.
I mean, interesting. Because Sion is a pretty good blind pick for themselves too, but
right, exactly. It's one of those ones
for themselves. So
it just works.
They're kind of worried about if G2 maybe would pick Sion on 4 and save their mid for counter pick instead. Both solo lanes would be options.
What's it gonna be, G2? What do we got here? All right, the Victor banned away, trying to remove one of those control mages from Emo.
The action mid lanes of like the Aurora and the Ahri have been so potent, especially with Aurora getting those buffs on this patch. But focus on the control mages instead.
All right, one last ban to go here for GAM, and it is one of those action mid laners that you're talking about. The Aurora will be kept away from caps.
Yeah, because they do have pretty short range on G2 right now, so they could go to try and extend their range with one of those longer range control mages for mid lane, or like we were talking about, go for one of them to help with the engages, help with the playmaking. Since Braum and Poppy here are very good for team fights, but in not a primary engage way.
Exactly. G2's composition is missing a big go button right now. We'll see if they end up wanting to draft one of those, and instead we're going to get the Rise locked in.
Okay, a lot of versatility then. They've got split pushing options here, even though they're playing into the Pantheon Global. Very, very good team fighting as far as Poppy ultimates being able to change those numbers. And then Braum with the defensive capabilities. But the Cassiopeia, the very common answer into the Rise. And since G2 are fairly short range, very short range with their comp right now, the Cassio would be a good one. The Hover would have been nice, but they go with the Hui instead because they want their longer range. So they're going to index. They've got Corky rockets. They've got the Hui. They've got the range advantage.
I was really liking the Cassio Hover as well, especially considering the matchup into the Rise as well as the rest of the team, but that's not the name of the game. And hey, GAM is just going to complement this with even more range. It is an artillery comp from GAM.
And they're doing that because, like we were talking about, the primary engage for G2 hasn't fully come in yet. So you expect for them, Broken Blade, to get some really good primary engage here. Into the Jace like Ornn might be a possibility. Gragas is another possibility. Gonna have some you know, body slam, flash possibilities as far as their plays. The ultimate does take a little bit more as far as the skill to execute. Some misplacements on that can be devastating, but that's the key. You need to have that engaged so you can break the poke comp.
Exactly. And if GAM ends up falling behind, when you're kind of just the poke comp, I mean, this one's going to be tough. There's no true tank on GAM to try to absorb any damage if they end up having to fight into G2 at objectives or something. And it just makes it really scary because as soon as Pantheon's shield goes down, nobody's safe.
And Hui is not very good at playing side lanes. So even though they do have the Pantheon, you know, to try and like cover Jason stuff here, Hui definitely much more comfortable in those siege situations. Like you're saying, if you do get an early lead, you know, group up for the objectives, use your long range, try and get your poke value, try and get your siege value.
So seeing both compositions, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked you last time. Is there one of these you favor over the other? Because this time I do think the identities of the comps are pretty different.
I really, really like extra range, but that being said, it can collapse so quickly, and there's a lot of these extra tools on the side of G2, like we say. Poppy ultimates, the value of a Poppy ultimate can be insanely high, like a Carrier or something like that. Or it can actually just do nothing and be one of those ones that is a huge flop, huge whiff.
Zero or hero.
Yeah, exactly. Can be zero or hero. A lot of variability in that ultimate value. And we'll see as well here for Caps on the Rise, if he can get some nice split pushing in, some good scaling in for himself. And Realm Warp's another one that can have some very, very high variance. Like you can have such high impact, create such cool plays with Realm Warps, or
you can do nothing.
Yeah, be super useless. So some of the coolest things in pro play actually drafted here. So.
Speaking of pro play, here is EU versus Vietnam, international record all time. Now, game wins also includes best of 1. Series wins are just best of 3s and best of 5. So in game wins, Europe is up 22-10. That is a very good record, almost 70% win rate, I think, somewhere around there. Meanwhile, they've got a very similar overall rate in series, as now we got a problem for Emo, who flashes over the wall, but Han Sama's ready to follow. Emo barely staying alive. Han Sama in a little bit of danger now, too, as he continues going forward. Hans gets first blood, but then he's the second. G2 continue going forward as Elio's got to be protected, but the protection is not there just yet. Elio getting away. Skumon has to flash to get it. It's a 2-for-2 so far as Labrov is down to 100 HP, but he will survive. It's 4 dead bodies on Summoner's Rift, and the clock hasn't hit 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's a bloodbath. And Flowers, the focus of gold, though, is key because Levi, Captain Levi, got 2 of the kills there for GAM. Let's take a look at it, though. Braum value is so huge in these level 1s, and they put a lot of pressure onto Emo, but he levels up and goes for the shield here. It allows him to survive so long that Hansama fully and completely commits there on level 1, does go down in trade, and with 2 and 2, we're just now 1 kill away from the feats for either side. But I want to see if the focus of gold into jungle is meaningful because focused gold in this game is a really, really valuable because it gets you to that big power spike much quicker on a single person. Is generally going to be more valuable than spread extra gold leads. However, Hansama on the Lucian might have something to say about it. He's got an extra little dagger. He's getting ganked.
Okay, Levi's coming down here looking to use that early money as Lebrov still only level 1. His heal's not even available. Artemis should be able to pick this one up for free. Levi just zoning Hans away so that there's no chance anybody but Artemis gets paid. It's GAM first to 3 kills.
Early jungle gold flowers now will be spent because of how that level 1 was extended.
Yeah.
He hadn't gotten to spend it yet. So that gank was just really nice from him. 3 camps into fully ganking this bottom lane with all the summoner spells that are blown in a level 1 bloodbath like that. There's a lot of vulnerabilities on the map, and so you want to go attack those as a jungler very early and active for Levi, as he has been in this tournament. And now that he has gotten to go spend that kill money with all the extra long swords here, now
a lot of swords.
Now it's going to be very threatening. Going to be a lot of burst damage behind that threat. And as far as the other flashes that were blown in the level 1, mid lane is key here, because both of them could be viable targets.
Yeah, mid and jungle, all of those flashes are on almost the exact same timer here. You can see them very, very close together, as we still have the flash available for Artemis down there in the bottom lane, but we've still got Hansama about half the cooldown remaining on his own flash, as Levi's going to pick up his blue buff, take control over the top side river. Skumon doing a good job going to the other side of the map where Levi is not. Cloth armor versus 3 long swords, Poppy versus Pantheon. He doesn't want anything to do with this.
Does he want to go for a gank? Because he canceled his recall, so both junglers are kind of looking towards mid. He's doing the Raptors now, so sealing away the 4-minute Raptors.
Okay, Emo finds a little bit of damage here onto Caps, but he can't get any hard CC, so now he'll just walk back towards that topside river as Levi makes his way back towards his own red side jungle. He is going to find that chicken camp stolen away.
Yeah, he didn't see Skumon, the chicken thief.
Oh, Hansama in some danger here as Elio and Artemis immediately going in after the AD carry. The Lucian about to die. The flash forward. Artemis grabbing the kill. Now with a phosphorus bomb back towards Lebrov. It's a 2v2 double kill for Artemis.
Oh, the Corky's getting rich flowers. Another couple kills for him. He still hasn't spent his money. He's going to go back for a huge buy.
They just won the 2v2 with a Doran's blade. He has not shopped. This man is about to come back to the bottom lane as a weapon of war. He's got the Phage, the Moat, the Tear, refillable potion. He is locked and loaded now. Over a 1,000 gold lead, 5 minutes in here for GAM. It was close, but that's good enough. They survive.
Yeah, they're thriving in the bloodbath of the level 1 and the action afterwards. The 3-camp gank there from Levi, doing a lot. Let's take a look at how it actually started. Okay, so it was right in front of tower.
Okay.
Eyes on Elio. Oh, I like this replay. A lot of tension.
Yeah, we've got a lot of lead.
There's the hook. There it is.
Beautiful.
Wow, what a lollipop right there. Nails Hansama, and they fully commit. Beautiful stuff, though. All about Elio with his hook.
And right there, too, that's both summoner spells from Artemis to guarantee that it gets done. There was barrier available for both of the AD carries, but all of the props in the world there to Elio.
Yeah. Let's go, indeed. They throw everything down there. Okay, back out on the reset, though. After the replay, Dragon getting burned down. Levi is heading over. Yeah. So watch out for the next possible hook. They're not going to go for it, though. It's already gone.
Yeah, they were too late to the scene.
So during that, too, you see the Jace pushing up on top side. Kia, yeah, thank you, is going to get a turret plate for himself with that Demolish. So pushing on Broken Blade here on the Gragas. Of course, the Gragas now with the tier, you know, lots of sustain on the champion. Going to try and continue to survive up there. But Kiaya also doing work for himself, as those top laners didn't get to participate in all the fun of the level 1. Nope. They get more PvE for themselves, and the Jace value there, the Jace extra push in and money.
Nice Dash from Hans to avoid another one of those deadly anchors there from the Nautilus. Has to stay away from those. One thing that's immediately drawing my attention, though, as I look at the scoreboard, massive gap in mid lane CS. Caps at 58, only 41 here for Emo. Yes, he'll be able to pick up a few there as that wave collides into the turret, but it's still about almost a 3-wave lead for Caps, as now Artemis has to try to retreat. Here comes the Realm Warp. This could be the problem for GAM as Artemis gets stunned up, shut down. Caps gets paid.
Did you call Caps flowers?
I think I did, my friend.
You did. He's got his own win in the mid lane, and then Realm Warps down to the bottom side, highlighting that mobility on this champion. Caps is going to be an absolute beast, and this is one of the reasons why people were worried about the mid lane for GAM. Emo, now that he's off his favorite champ, off that Talia, even with the counter pick here into Caps, really, really suffering.
That is tough, man. Caps is getting it done here in mid. That is exactly who you want the money on for G2.
Yeah, and it was a shutdown for extra value here for him. So very efficient use of time, too. He got right back to mid lane, collect that wave. Didn't take him very long at all to blow up that Corki. Now, Artemis does at least get his barrier back, but Hansama with the flash advantage in the bottom side of the map.
And you know, we were thinking back in the draft, like, oh yeah, there's so many of these heaven or hell types of ultimates that can work really well or really poorly. Realm Warp is one of them. That was a heaven warp right there. That is exactly what you want, as now Broken Blade is exactly where he doesn't want to be. Oh, Elio tried to predict where Broken Blade was going to go, but instead he just flashes over the wall, avoids the collapse. Honestly, huge there for Broken Blade. That was a Pantheon ult that got nothing but a flash.
Yeah, and the Pantheon ult was going to be one of the main only tools that was going to keep Caps in check. Now that there's no threat of that, they go for the grub bite.
Elio goes in, Lebrov throws up the door. Exhaust onto Levi, but Artemis is also here. Lebrov jumping back to the safety of Hansama, but a little bit more damage over the wall gets the job done. Artemis, kill number 4 this game. GAM with control over the grub pit can still claim 2.
So Flowers, eyes on the bottom side though. Caps is eating up extra minions, extra tower plates while they're split pushing. So once again, true to form, GAM, they always commit to these plays as a team, but they teleported Emo up there away from it and giving even more into the Rise. They do get their kill, and they are ahead as a team, but Caps might be a team in himself this game on the Rise.
And we know that Rise is one of those champions that can do just that. However, one of the things that can work very well against Rise is range. If you're able to stay out of his effective damage radius, you can really put the hurt on him before he can go in. So the pressure will be on. We need to see if Emo can catch up and make sure that he can try to keep this Rise in check.
Yeah, and the Pantheon ult that we were talking about, that's one of the things that can like keep him in check when he's on side lanes a little bit. Does have to respect that a decent amount, even with the mobility of phase rush and everything there for himself. But right back out to it, trying to shove. See what they do here with their rotation over. Artemis trying to answer in mid.
So we've still got about a 1,000 gold lead for GAM. However, we also had a 1,000 gold lead for GAM pretty early on. They haven't continued to build anything throughout the laning phase.
And it is Artemis there, so with a lot of this gold on him, he's able to finish his Trinity Force. So he was stacking up his tier early because of all those early kills, and very, very quick early first item power spike for him.
Yeah, 10.5-minute Trinity Force with a tier that he's also already stacking. Lucian has pickaxe and 2 longswords. That is a massive power trough for the bottom lane of G2. So if you're Hans, the goal is just try to keep farming. Honestly, the farm almost dead even between the two. If you can keep it that way when you're at this massive power deficit, you're winning.
And it's up to Elio and Levi to make some plays around Artemis, around this strong Corki. He's got double summoner spells, Trinity Force power spike. He can put out so much burst damage if someone can keep an opponent in place.
There we go, Levi with a flash stun follow after Artemis is engaged, but they don't have the damage to take out Caps. He has his own flash to get away. Combined with the phase rush, he can create enough distance. That was flash for flash jungler for mid laner there. As Broken Blade goes for the ulti onto Kiaya, and here comes the Realm Warp. Caps is looking to go aggro, and with Skewmon coming with them, the slam into the wall is there, and Skewmon's grabbing kill number 4 for G2.
What a delivery on the side lane. Okay, once again, this time we also still have to point out the lanes lane that was left in mid here. It is going to be the Corki earning some money off of the mid tower, as well as going for the dragon. So they make their side lane play, they take down Kiaya, they put a stop to that pushing of the Jace, but GAM are able to answer on the other side of the map. Even Emo here gets a little bit.
However, the numbers don't lie, my friend. You look up at that gold lead there at the top part of your screen. It is down below 500 now for the side of GAM. Emo eating a whole ton of damage here for the calling. Another beautiful wall slam coming out from Skewmon, as now LeBron and Hans Sama are ready to make it a 2-for-nothing special. Hans Sama getting paid. G2 taking command over the game as Caps is about to take another plate over in mid. They are just out rotating, out macro gaming GAM.
Yeah, that was just beautiful from G2. They send them down on the bottom side of the map. They get their pincer right as they're arriving, and Emo moves on over towards Tribush, immediately taken out. Easy work there for G2, and they're able to get so much push afterwards. Hans Sama here catching up, trying to make up some of that gold deficit here on the Lucian.
All right, Broken Blade on the Gragas here as well. He's staying dead even with Kiaya. This was our big question coming into the series. Will he be able to keep up? Will he fall behind compared to GAM's star top laner? And here in this one, he's doing just fine. When you're looking at the rest of the map, it's still a lead for Artemis, but that's about it. Levi trying to put a little bit more money in Artemis's pocket. He secures it for himself instead, but a nice pick there for GAM.
What's going to be the play on the other side of the map? Okay, one global here used up to the top side. Pantheon ultimate used. Emo knows he is weak side, and they were threatening to use a Rise Realm Warp. That's going to be all that is necessary. So let's take a look at how quickly that tower is going down. Pretty low health on the bottom side, if I remember.
Well, yeah, they're putting a little bit of work into it. Seems to still have a couple of plates left on it right now. Yeah, so it can't be burned down instantly. However, the plates are going to fall here pretty soon. Kiaya trying to grab another plate up here on the top side at the same time. Hans Sama needs more damage to try to take out that last plate, but he ain't going to find it before Artemis can show up and clear out the wave. Kiaya continuing to just try to get a little bit more damage, get one more plate here as the clock is about to hit 14. And I do believe Kiaya got it right there at the last second, but he may pay for that last little bit of greed for the turret plate. Skewmon shows up, knocks him up into the air with a point-blank keeper's verdict. Broken Blade trying to follow, looking for a little bit more CC, knocks him back, beautifully done. Skewmon and Broken Blade, they'll lose that plate just fine if they can get the kill on Kiaya. Well done by G2, and they will even up the kills 7-7 at 14 minutes.
Yeah, so active this game. Another side lane play here, pulled off by G2 to pick another member. And there's no answer this time.
But down in bottom lane, we got Artemis in some danger. He might just lose the 2v2. This is the point of power for GAM. He's got to be so careful now, as it looks like Elio's just going to be the sacrifice. Lebrov still dropping very low on HP, and right when it looks like it might have been a fair fight, here comes Caps. G2 get a 1-for-0 in the bottom lane.
Another good rotation over from G2. Caps is going to be able to finish off the turret in the aftermath too, so he's going to get solo tower gold as the rest of them back off and funnel even more focused resources into the Rise.
Man, this game started out looking so good for GAM, but G2 have bounced back beautifully.
It's so much about playing the large map here, playing the side lanes, and now that the turrets are starting to go down, there is more room for a lot of these Pantheon Ultimate and Realm Warp plays.
All right, Rift Herald the target. GAM starting it up. Plates, 750 plate gold versus 875. So honestly, both teams doing a lot of damage to the plates early on in this one, especially compared to the last game where it was just 2-1 in plate count, as GAM still currently uncontested for this Herald. Hans Sama and Lebrov are hanging around, but nobody else on G2 is nearby, but Caps is pushing the tier 2 turret in the bottom lane at the same time.
Exactly, it's a classic story here. We have all 5 members of GAM committing up to the objective. Meanwhile, G2 commit to their split push plan. Rise down there on the bottom side, pushed in another one. But with that Rift Herald and with the top tower being so low, there is a possibility for a big gold swing in the favor of GAM. A lot of standing gold left in these turrets, so Ki is going to be able to get this one, chop that gold lead from G2 down pretty quickly there. Then they also have the Rift Herald in pocket. That one can turn into very, very quick outer tower gold. Mid lane is very low for G2 at the moment, so they could pop it there, grab that money, really open up the mid lane possibilities for themselves too.
All right, GAM. Let's see what they can do to try to stabilize this, because it just feels like anytime GAM gets one, G2 get two. They're always coming out on top.
Yeah, well, they are going to go for that. Pop down that mid turret with the Rift Trail, so that one is guaranteed, and it's into a Dragon. So let's see. Broken Blade want to finish up on the top side tower. He does have his teleport ready to come to this Dragon fight, but GAM have the early priority into the river, setting up for Dragon here.
Let's see how much value GAM can get out of their poke, out of their artillery on this one. Broken Blade's going to teleport into the enemy jungle, though. He's going for the flank attack. Levi is already on the Drake, but if Broken Blade catches him by surprise here, this is such a problem. Emo's going to be knocked into the team and immediately killed. Hans Sama on a killing spree with a beautiful slam into the wall with Keeper's Verdict to set up the second kill for Hans. Labrov and Broken Blade completely controlling the fight. Broken Blade is redeeming himself in this series. That teleport flank completely broke the back of GAM.
It is huge. He got right onto Emo. They delete the way.
Now the tier 1 turret gonna get dove. More problems for GAM as Kiaya gets stunned up, and Caps is just machine gunning spells towards the remaining 2 players of GAM. Kiaya and Artemis staying alive for now. The accelerated shock blast will not find a kill on the back end of the fight, and G2, now with a 3,000 gold lead, will also earn themselves another neutral objective with the Dragon.
G2 here, keeping up their focus on creating these plays, on creating these fights with good positioning. Broken Blade, beautiful engage. And he doesn't even get to move. Emo instantly deleted. And so they're able to chase down the rest. Nice double knock up there to be able to finish it. Chasing down Levi as well. GAM here really focusing on going over to the objectives, but G2 picking them apart.
Now we're back to live with G2 once again, trying to push under the tier 1 turret of GAM here in the mid lane. Turret's about the only thing in this game that is not a G2 lead thus far. Tied 2-2. GAM has managed to grab a couple of those. G2 really wanting to take out this last outer turret here in mid, open up more of the rift as Caps just farming up as many resources as he possibly can. Look at the individual gold lead on Caps. Almost 2,500 gold out of the 3,000 total that G2 has. It's a mid diff.
Yeah. Thank Caps here for G2. He's the one that really held it together. His individual laning over Emo, he earned his own lead, and then he took that lead down to the bottom lane that was getting pummeled. He was able to get that shut down. These realm warps really making the differences. So many really, really good ones from him. Good map play from G2. Using that extra tool for the rotations, and GAM here trying to find their comeback play. They've got a couple successful kills with Pantheon ultimates, but not quite as impactful as the Ryze realm warps have been. And geez, man, that individual Ryze lead, Flowers.
It is.
that is basically the lead.
And it's manifesting itself in the items too. Seraph's Embrace fully stacked. Rod of Ages at 7 out of 10 charges. He's already level 14 compared to the 12 of Emo, and the Rod is not at 10 stacks yet. Caps is already a raid boss, and we're about to move up a tier of gear here in about 3 minutes. This guy is a problem, and I don't think GAM have the answer.
Yeah, definitely looking rough for GAM at the moment. If they want to go for a play, it has to be one of those very quick plays. The problem is, look at G2. Everyone's grouped up on Ryze. So if you made an attempt at a quick play, the Realm Up comes through, and he's able to bring Hansama and Skumond with him. That reset from G2, all of them coming back out together.
Okay, Labrov and Broken Blade stepping up into the enemy jungle. Broken Blade ready to keep this one moving forward. Another nice use of the ulti, but miscommunication with Labrov, who uses the Glacial Fissure and interrupts the knockback from Broken Blade. Now a ton of damage on the Hansama. He barely stays alive, but that's good enough for now. Levi's low, G2 retreating. Miscommunication between Broken Blade and Labrov as the cask knockback is interrupted by the fissure. They don't get the engage they're looking for, and Hans barely lives.
Yeah, Hans is definitely happy with that one to be able to live after how it actually went down. But the Otacon is actually up, so resetting back out, and the health bars here are very important because trying to move over, G2 do have the vision, and they have Caps pushing for priority on bottom lane first. So they've got full priority in the setup here, and GAM forced to take some recalls to refill their health bars.
I don't know if there's any way that they're going to be able to try a challenge for this. Now, G2 don't have Hans Sama here, so it will be slower than they'd like it to be, but they've already got the objective down to 1/3 HP. They've got Caps here, so they know that if GAM comes and tries to fight this, they will have to fight through the Rise, who does now also have Seeker's arm guard. Now, oh, nice flash follow onto the body slam there from Broken Blade. This time the ulti collides exactly where it needs to, and Caps goes on a killing spree. G2, they'll take the Otacon. They'll be up 24 flower petals, 5 kills, and 4,000 gold.
Caps have a 3-level lead without even the Rod of Ages ticking over. And that thing's going to tick over and is going to get another level. So this is just so massive. They've been playing those sideways, playing the macro, and he's getting another one here.
Yeah, Skewmon wants to go in after Emo, and Caps is ready to follow. Levi with a defensive stun, trying to provide an opportunity for his teammate to get away. Caps triggers the Seraph shield there, as Skewmon and Broken Blade have to back away a little bit further. Labrov going to get grabbed by the Dredge line as GAM continue their chase. Won't land the CC onto Labrov as he tries again to protect Caps, who flashes away from the depth charge. Broken Blade here on the front line as the TP's coming in to once again reinforce GAM. The ulti from the Gragas, not enough. Emo with the shutdown on Broken Blade. Skewmon on the run. He does have Deadmans to try to get away from this one, but GAM is coming around to cut him off at the pass, or are they? Okay, Scryer's Trinket finds him.
So even though GAM are setting up for Dragon here, this Dragon is only number 2 for them, and Caps makes the call, yeah, fine, go for the Dragon. I will continue to split push. So he teleports up to the top side. He forces the answer teleport up to that top side as well. Quay did get the shutdown there, so Emo with an extra little bit of a boost, but he really needs it.
Yeah, he got the shutdown, and it at least got him to level 13, so as Caps' Rod of Ages ticks over, he's not 4 levels down. It's still 3 levels down. That is still extreme, and Levi is now finding himself caught, slammed back into the wall. Labrov and Skewmon need a little bit more damage, and Caps and Hans Sama have arrived. Instead, they'll turn their attention over to Elio, who cannot get away. Hans Sama grabbing the kill, as now just barely Levi can escape that one, but G2 once again owns total control over the GAM jungle.
Yeah, G2 kind of running them around the map this game. Caps at the helm, and Caps does have his Seeker's arm guard to go very deep on one of these plays.
Or he's been going deep the whole game.
Or use it for an escape, you know, very versatile.
All right, G2, 4,000 gold lead. Yeah, the Drakes are even, but I don't think they really care too much about that. It's all just the Caps game this time around, right? It feels like it's live and die by Caps, and Caps is pick and live every time. I think he's having a very, very impressive performance on the Rise in this one. The Realm Warps have been so effective every time. He hasn't been caught out of position. He hasn't found himself in a spot where the range of GAM has been a problem for him so far. 3-0 and 6 here on the Rise. Oh, come on!
Yeah, so props to some of the utility players on the team too. Broken Blade, you mentioned that really big teleport flank that he had. That one was very critical for G2, but this is going to be exciting to see how they continue to use this massive Rise lead in the side lanes. If GAM are ever going to be able to get the map back under control.
Yeah. I'm curious if GAM really have any opportunities in this game that aren't a G2 mistake at this point, because it feels like they haven't been able to find really much of anything. We talked so much about Artemis being the early lead for GAM, but that Corki playing around them like you were talking about, GAM hasn't found any windows to make those opportunities happen.
Yeah, and G2, they've got this really strong Rise split pusher, of course, but if you try and engage on the other part of the team and you're like, okay, we don't want to fight you when you have Caps, they have so many abilities to buy time. Really good defensive champions. You know, Braum, very good at buying time if you try to engage on the other side of the team. Gragas as well. And so they can buy time for Caps to get there and collapse as well. So it's so hard for GAM when they make a play. It's got to be very precise. It has to be very quick.
Just has not been there so far in this one. Looks like we are having, it was a GAM pause for some peripheral issues that hopefully we can get resolved here very soon, get back into the game. Not sure exactly what peripherals are malfunctioning, but right now, GAM has got to figure out how they can try to stabilize against this. The good news is Caps can only level up 2 more times. So the level lead's not going to continue growing that much more.
True.
Caps out at 18, and then you can start catching up.
When Caps out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some more room for items, so the pain might continue, but
All right, we're back. The peripherals are fixed. Cap still has that unbroken arm guard. And hey, Broken Blade also has the same thing. Unbroken arm guard on the Gragas alongside the Fimbulwinter and Cosmic Drive means that he is a tanky Gragas that's also spamming abilities at maximum speed. Labrov goes in for an engage on Emo. Broken Blade knocks Elio back. Emo, not the right angle on him, but Elio will be a fine consolation prize. Kiaya shows up too little, too late to find much of anything, and the clock is at exactly the right time to make that play. 25 minutes into the game, G2 now has a 5v4 for the next 25 seconds. They will dare GAM to answer them at the Baron.
Yeah, beautiful play there from G2. They do it without caps at all. They use the Gragas, Poppy, and Braum to find their pick. They force GAM into this tight spot.
All right, G2, let's see how they can defend against this. Levi wants to go in there with a Grand Starfall, but he's immediately ejected by the Keeper's Verdict. G2 burns down the objective, and Broken Blade keeps everybody else busy. Skumon into the back, finding the slam into the wall on Emo. G2 aren't stopping, and it's GAM dropping. Artemis caught in the middle of a realm warp, and 4v1. He's buried. Double kill back over to Broken Blade, 18-8, 8,000 gold ahead. G2 with a massive sequence.
Did Levi even get to touch the ground there?
No, he just yo-yoed.
That Pantheon just got boinked out immediately by Skumon. Let's take another look at it. Of course, GAM, no, they're in such a tight spot, so they go for the big play onto Baron, but boom, as soon as he's there, immediately ejected back into the air. G2 focused, they finish the Baron, and then it can go get all of the kills. Look at that, grouped up, had the big slow, right against the wall. Wow, that's gotta be the wrap on it, Flowers.
Yeah.
That's gotta be G2 pushing us to the edge here, to series point, to elimination game next game if GAM are unable to find a miracle for themselves.
I mean, it's a Baron, plus you doubled the impressive gold lead that you already had. It's now in the territory where GAM must rely on a mistake from G2, and it needs to be a pretty colossal mistake. Look at the bounties on the side of G2. Skumon and Caps, both with maxed bounties. Broken Blade is about to solo down the formerly fed Corki. Take a drink, Artemis. He's out of there. Call him to ride home. He's done. And now G2, they've got a 5v4 again for 30 seconds again, moving up towards the mid lane inhibitor, having already claimed the one in bottom lane. It's a full 5-man push. The minions flowing into the base as well, but G2, they want to play it safe. They don't want to overforce here, and they're going to back away.
They've just expertly pulled GAM across the map the entire game here, and that's how they're going to finish it as well.
This feels like such an improvement for G2 compared to the previous series we've seen them in so far in this tournament, right? They got a win against Furia, but man, it was a long, drawn-out battle. There were some messy games. It had to go the full 5. Up against BLG, they get smoked, 3-0 clean sweep. And now, coming in here against GAM, a team that had the exact same record as them against the exact same teams in the exact same tournament, you would expect this to be very close, but G2 is making it look not that way whatsoever.
Yeah, this is looking like G2's best game so far for sure, even despite their bottom lane getting behind early on, and it possibly being an angle there for GAM. G2 really able to cover it, Caps especially, and now they're coming to finish the job.
All right, GAM got to try to defend this last remaining lane of inhibitors, but it ain't gonna happen too easy. Broken Blade goes golden, trying to stay alive. The tier 3 turret buys a lot of time though. GAM with a nice defense, have already found 2. Caps into the Zonias, trying to stay alive. The shutdown back over to Levi. Caps wants to get away, but a massive shutdown for Kiaya. GAM come to life and defend their base on their last legs. Hans on the run, but Levi's on the hunt. Artemis right behind him. GAM looking for the chase. G2 forced too hard, and GAM, even when their backs are against the wall, never give up.
GAM, never give up, never stop fighting. They're gonna go for the objective bounty shutdown here, try and burn this dragon down. Skumon is walking on over though. He has no ultimate. Yeah,
there's no way he goes in for this. There's no way. What? Well, hold on. We got a TP coming in.
Braum has TP.
Yeah, that's a Labrov TP from an unsealed spellbook. So GAM will go ahead and claim themselves the Drake.
Teleporting into the base.
Hansama's also here. Yeah, they're going for the base. It looks like we're going to get a Broken Blade teleport attempt here, but a response TP immediately from Emo, recognizing what's going on. Elio takes the blast cone to try to get away. Nice Spider-Man on the dredge line. The empowered blast cone gives Elio the range to escape what would have otherwise been certain death.
That looked fun, honestly. Using the blast cone first over the Gragas, and then the slingshot here, buffering his hook nicely there to avoid. And GAM, they pulled off the defense. They got the objective bounty shut down. Kiaya puts the ward in the brush, but he gets the bad news.
Yeah, he might have gone a little bit too close here. Deadman's plate Poppy catches up, and Hansama empties the magazine into him. G2 pick up a freebie there. Caps is back out on the Rift. We'll see if G2 can force something now. That's a 45-second death timer on the Jace.
Yeah, with 2 inhibitors down, there's just unrelenting pressure here. Super minions coming in mid and bottom. You know, G2 were just recalling there. They get a happy little surprise with the extra kill. Caps looking to start the work on the last remaining inhibitor, and slowly G2 will close in. The pressure unrelenting.
G2, there goes the last inhibitor in the GAM base. They go in for the engage. They're trying to find Levi instead, switching over to Emo. He's already dead, as now Elio's about to fall with them. Broken Blade goes back in for a nice 2-man body slam. Rune Prison on Levi seals his fate as well, and it's only Artemis left standing. But the Nexus turrets are down. G2 still firing as Artemis has to flash to try to get away. Kiaya's back into the fight, but it's a 2v4. Cap staying alive, kiting Artemis out as Broken Blade comes back over for the CC into the kill. The ace for G2, the game for G2, game point for G2.
G2 today looking a lot better here at this tournament, really building up some strength. And now they will be at series points, looking at moving on in the tournament. GAM, so much pressure on their shoulders. Now will be facing elimination game. All of Vietnam watching them. So much pressure.